Hello, the purpose of this short presentation is to update various stakeholders on the progress that's been occurring recently in the Medical Device and Technology Research Laboratory, which moved earlier this year to the Salmon Building to SAL 106. We have a number of concurrent activities, and the first thing I'm going to describe is the student internship that we have with two medical students, Bradley Hobson and Tarnish Unhale. And they're looking at the phase difference between chest wall movement and airflow. And to explain that, we can see a chest wall mounted strain gauge giving a respiratory signal. And you can see that the air movement detected by the nasal thermistor occurs a little way after that. And we wanted to investigate this further. We're now 2 weeks into the project and both students have made enormous progress with it. We have a lot of coding going on. We have a wave segmenter which takes a respiratory signal in pairs from the chest device and the airflow device, and Python coding has been used to make a wave segmenter so we can study breath-to-breath differences. A remarkable achievement has been made with learning MATLAB, and we now have some MATLAB code which then analyzes each wave, and from that a phase difference can be determined. The students have also developed a device and constructed it, and here it is. We have a chest wall mounted accelerometer instead of a chest wall strain gauge. And we have a nasal thermistor. This is a disposable nasal thermistor. And this box here contains an Arduino Nano microprocessor, which is used as an analog to digital converter. Now, it's all very well. You may say that quite a lot of the outputs of this laboratory look like small black boxes with wires coming out of them. But this one appears to demonstrate something that we've discovered physiologically. We've discovered a breath-to-breath variation in phase angle. So here's 26 breaths being taken over a period of time. And we can see that there's a sort of a sinusoidal variation which occurs between breaths. And we wonder if this is being mediated by vagal tone or by some other means, such as airway recruitment. And after that arises the question as to, does this alter in disease states? Would we see greater or lesser phase angle variation in disease states? And this might lead to an effortless device for examining patients' respiratory health, because after all, spirometry does require a lot of effort and can be exhausting for those with significant respiratory problems. So that's a very nice little discovery that has been made, and we've yet to find this in the literature. We're also hosting another student internship. This time we have Ritu Rajna, who's just completing MSc in Electronic and Electrical Engineering, and she's developing a project in which she has a Bluetooth-enabled inertial management unit, which fits quite neatly into this box. And this can give remotely produced joint angle measurements, and this can also be represented using graphics in 3D. And here we have a trace showing various different joint angles as measured with a MEMS gyroscope that's contained within the inertial management unit within this box. It's powered by a rechargeable battery, and you'll see the charger in a minute. And that project is going very well indeed. This laboratory has an enduring collaboration with Dr. Jen Marte from the medical engineering team in FSE. And what Jen's doing at the moment is she's repurposing a Microsoft Kinect. And these are the devices that connect to Xboxes for gaming purposes. Now that they're being withdrawn by Microsoft, there's lots of these lying around secondhand, and they're being repurposed for medical uses. And what Jen's doing is she's creating point cloud objects such as these boxes here. And you can see this graphic. That's myself. Here are some other team members sitting around a table, and here's our infrared shadow here. And by moving one's hand into the point cloud, in other words these boxes, sounds can be produced or some other stimulus. It's believed that this may have some application in rehabilitation. If you have a stiff joint that requires physiotherapy, then repeated attempts to get one's hand or one's elbow or whatever joint moved, such as the boxes touched, can give an auditory or a visual stimulus in return, and this can incentivize. And so we think this might have an application in rehabilitation. This year we're also doing some STEM outreach, and in association with my colleague Dr Sarah Lockie of the School of Medicine, we're going to host 2 sixth formers, and what they're going to do is extend work done in a previous student internship where graphite and glue mixtures are made into piezo resistive strain gauges. We've proved the use of PVA, that's kiddie glue, but we'd quite like to try some other materials like bathroom sealant and various other glues to see if they can be longer lasting and more durable in the strain gauges, as these may have some biomedical applications. The funding is through STEM Point East, who are funded by the Nuffield Foundation, and they provide us with the students. And we'll be starting this project for 2 weeks in August this year. And this is what I'm doing. This device here is a Bluetooth enabled respiratory rate monitor. This is something I developed directly on the back of Ritu's work, and I find that it produces a very nice respiratory signal, although a little undersampled because its sampling rate is at 10 Hertz, so that'll be worth working on. It's got a lithium polymer battery in it, and here we have the charging unit that I've made, and this charges directly from power from the USB port on a computer, on a laptop. My main project, which is for my MD, is the use of microelectronic mechanical devices. I'm using gyroscopes to measure respiratory rate, and I hope to be getting clearance to start human studies when the COVID restrictions are eased imminently. An application has been made to get that up and running, and I'm ready to start work on that. And in addition, this summer there's lots of supervision of interns and giving young people opportunities to participate in research. I hope to demonstrate that there's been considerable progress on the last presentation that I made, and hopefully this progress will continue, and I hope that you found this informative. Many thanks for listening.